What if I told you that the most recommended exercise for poor leg circulation after 60 could actually be the very thing slowing down your recovery? As a surgeon, I see a frustrating paradox every single day. People walk faithfully, elevate their legs, and wear compression socks, yet they still end up with cold feet, burning pain, and a higher risk of devastating falls. But this is where it gets truly serious. Poor circulation isn't just discomfort. It's a silent countdown to infections, non-healing sores, and in severe cases, amputation. And it's one of the first warning signs that your heart is under dangerous stress. The good news is, the real fix doesn't rely on endless walking. It relies on activating a hidden, second heart in your legs with a few simple movements. And understanding this one secret could be the difference between walking strong at 80 and needing a cane by 70. What if the most common advice for bad leg circulation in people over 60 was actually a step in the wrong direction, possibly even holding back your progress? I'm a surgeon, and I witness this exact scenario play out all the time. I see well-meaning folks who walk every day, put their feet up, and religiously use compression socks, yet they still suffer from freezing cold feet, constant swelling, a painful burning sensation, and a loss of balance that leads to falls. And this is where it gets truly serious. Poor circulation is far more than just a minor inconvenience. For anyone over the age of 60, it can be a silent force pushing you toward a future of slow-healing sores, dangerous infections, and in the most tragic situations, amputations. It's also one of the very first red flags that your heart and arteries are struggling under immense strain. The core of the issue is that the majority of people have a fundamental misunderstanding of what poor circulation truly is. This isn't just about having cold toes. It's a systemic failure of your blood to travel effectively from your heart down to the tips of your toes and all the way back up again. Once you pass 60, your arteries can start to become stiff and narrow, the veins in your legs lose their strength, and blood begins to collect and stagnate in your lower extremities. The statistics are sobering. By the time a person reaches age 70, almost 1 out of every 5 adults is dealing with a measurable level of peripheral artery disease in their legs. A huge number of them have no idea. This is precisely why surgeons don't leave this to chance. We've seen the devastating consequences when circulation isn't properly restored, and restored early. We see how minor swelling can escalate into stubborn sores. We witness how a person's balance slowly deteriorates. Then, a single fall can trigger a cascade of health problems and a rapid loss of independence. But here is the truly hopeful part. Effective rehabilitation isn't measured in the number of steps you take. It's built on performing specific, targeted movements that physically force the pooled blood from your legs back up towards your heart. Once you grasp which specific muscle is the engine for that internal pump, the method to fix it becomes incredibly straightforward. And I've saved the most impactful information for the end. Because once you see the science behind it, you will fundamentally change how you view exercise after the age of 60. This knowledge could be the one thing that determines whether you are walking with strength and confidence at 80 or relying on a cane to get around by 70. Let's kick off our countdown with movement number 5, a technique for activating the second heart pump in your body through calf activation. This first movement in our countdown, coming in at number 5, appears so basic that you might dismiss it as insignificant. But the scientific evidence and the protocols from surgical rehabilitation paint a completely different picture. This is frequently the very first exercise that surgeons will prescribe to a patient after they've had leg surgery, specifically to prevent a catastrophic failure of their circulation. Here is the reason this is so much more critical than you might imagine. Your calves house a powerful mechanism that medical professionals refer to as the venous muscle pump. It's often called the body's second heart. With every single contraction of this calf muscle, it applies direct physical pressure to the veins deep inside your lower legs, effectively squeezing the blood and pushing it upward on its journey back to your heart. After you turn 60, this vital pump can weaken surprisingly quickly. And this is especially true if you spend long portions of your day sitting down. When it's not performing at its peak, blood begins to pool around your ankles and in your feet, which causes swelling to increase, the delivery of oxygen to your tissues to drop, and your body's natural healing processes to slow down. Clinical studies focused on vascular rehabilitation have demonstrated that simple, seated ankle pumping can produce a significant improvement in venous return and dramatically lessen lower leg swelling in older adults, all without the need for standing or walking. The secret to its effectiveness is not about high intensity. It's all about consistent and very deliberate movement. To execute this movement the right way, you need to sit up in a chair, placing your feet flat on the ground. From there, you will lift your toes up toward your shins, making sure to keep your heels planted on the floor. Next, press your toes downward into the floor as you lift your heels up high. Similar to the motion of pressing a gas pedal in a car, that entire sequence is one repetition. You should move slowly and maintain full control throughout the motion. Make it your goal to perform 20 to 30 repetitions, doing this 2 to 3 times over the course of your day. The beauty of this is you can do it while you're watching television, reading a book, or even just sitting at the kitchen table. This movement successfully restores a crucial pumping action that even a brisk walk often doesn't activate with enough force in people over 60. Walking tends to rely on momentum, whereas these deliberate ankle pumps create focused contractions that actively clear stagnant blood out of your lower legs. The direct result is warmer feet, noticeably less swelling, and a reduction in the pressure on your fragile veins. It also stands as one of the very safest methods to begin enhancing your circulation, especially if pain, issues with balance, or general fatigue are limiting your ability to move. However, these ankle pumps are just the first step to wake the system up. The next movement on our list is designed to strengthen the muscle that prevents blood from falling right back down. And that is where the most profound changes in your circulation truly start to happen. Now for our fourth movement, the seated venous return lift. And if the fact that you're sitting down makes you think this one will be easy, you're in for a pleasant surprise. A 2024 study that was published in the Archives of Physical Medicine and Rehabilitation discovered that adults over the age of 60 who engaged in seated leg lifts using just light resistance were able to improve their walking speed by an incredible 28% and boost their stair climbing ability by 45% after only 8 weeks. These numbers are far more significant than most people would guess. Walking speed is about more than just your level of fitness. In the medical community, doctors have started calling it the sixth vital sign, because a slower walking speed has been strongly correlated with a much higher risk of falling, a loss of personal independence, and even a shorter lifespan. Here's the reason this specific exercise delivers results where simple walking falls short. Seated leg lifts simultaneously target your quadriceps and your hip flexors, all while requiring your core to engage and stabilize your body. These are the very muscles that power your legs when you need to stand up, climb a set of stairs, or get up out of a chair. The problem is that traditional walking barely challenges these muscles enough to halt the natural decline that comes with age. And when these crucial muscles contract, they aren't just building strength. They are also squeezing the large veins located in your thigh, which helps to drive blood back up toward the heart and reduce pooling. To perform this one correctly, sit up tall in a sturdy chair, making sure your back is pressed firmly against the backrest and both of your feet are flat on the floor. In a slow and controlled manner, lift one leg straight out in front of you, keeping your knee as straight as you can without discomfort. Hold it there for 2 seconds and then slowly lower it back down, being careful not to just let your foot drop. That completes one repetition. Your goal should be 10 to 15 reps on that leg before you switch to the other side. The one detail that most people get wrong is their posture. By keeping your back firmly against the chair, you eliminate the use of momentum and you force the correct muscles to do all the work. That is where the incredible benefit to your circulation comes from. As this exercise starts to feel easier, You can add some light resistance with ankle weights or a resistance band. Even just 1 or 2 pounds can make a significant difference. Research has proven that our muscles will respond to progressive resistance at any age, and older adults often see faster improvements simply because they are starting from a lower baseline. This movement helps to reduce stiffness in your joints, improve your tolerance for walking, and strengthen the muscles responsible for moving blood through your upper legs, which is something that ankle pumps alone cannot accomplish. But even the strongest thighs in the world won't be enough to protect you if your body's internal balance system isn't firing the way it should. This brings us to movement number 3, the standing heel raise with support. This targets a muscle group that doctors rarely think to test, but it is very often the primary reason that seniors begin to lose their independence. Here is a fact that was shocking even to experienced researchers who are analyzing data on aging. A landmark report that was cited by the National Institute on Aging revealed that the strength of a person's calves is one of the most reliable predictors of whether someone over 60 will be able to maintain their independence. The data showed that seniors who had stronger calves experienced dramatically fewer falls and were far less likely to find themselves needing assisted living. Here's why this is more critical than most people understand. Your calf muscles function like a mechanical pump. Every single time they contract, they squeeze the deep veins in your lower leg, which forces blood to move upward, fighting against the pull of gravity. Having weak calves means that blood will inevitably pool, swelling will increase, the delivery of oxygen will drop, and your balance reactions will become dangerously slow. This is the reason surgeons and rehabilitation specialists are so focused on this particular movement, even though it looks almost too simple to be effective. Here's what sets this movement apart from others. It doesn't just build up your strength, it simultaneously retrains both your circulation and your balance systems. This is the exact combination that your body depends on to prevent a fall from happening. To perform this exercise the right way, stand behind a sturdy chair or a countertop and hold onto it lightly for support. Gently rise up onto the balls of your feet, lifting your heels as high as you comfortably can. Once you reach the top of the movement, pause for 2 to 3 seconds while you look straight ahead, not down at the floor. Then, slowly lower yourself back down, taking about 3 seconds to complete the downward motion. The absolute key here is the tempo of the movement. That short pause at the top is where the real magic is happening. It forces your internal balance system and your calf muscles to fire in perfect coordination. This is precisely what needs to happen when you catch yourself during an unexpected stumble. Begin with just 10 repetitions. As your strength begins to improve, you can work your way up to 20 or even 25. Over time, this one single movement will improve the stability of your ankles, your circulation, and your reaction speed all at the same time. It stands as one of the most direct methods for reducing swelling in your legs while also lowering your risk of falling, all without putting any undue stress on your joints. Now, we are getting to the top 2 exercises on our list, and this is where the game truly changes. Our runner-up at movement number 2 is the single leg circulation hold. This is one of the exercises that orthopedic surgeons view as absolutely non-negotiable for any person over the age of 75. Before you write this off as a simple balance exercise, here is a finding that stunned even veteran clinicians who were reviewing research on aging. Large-scale population studies, which are referenced by the National Institutes on Aging, have shown that a person's ability to stand on one leg is one of the most powerful predictors of future falls, loss of mobility, and a rapid physical decline after the age of 60. In fact, adults who are unable to pass simple single-leg balance tests are several times more likely to suffer from a serious fall within the next few years. And once those falls begin to happen, a person's circulation almost always gets worse, not better. Here's why this is so important for your blood flow. Every moment that you are standing on one leg, the muscles in your calf, ankle, hip, and core are all forced to contract continuously just to keep you from tipping over. That sustained contraction creates a prolonged muscle pump effect, which is especially powerful in the calves, and it actively pushes blood upward instead of allowing it to pool in your lower legs. Walking will never create this kind of demand. When you walk, you're only on one leg for a tiny fraction of a second. The single-leg stance holds force that internal pump to stay switched on. This is the crucial intersection where circulation and fall prevention meet. When a person's balance starts to decline, they naturally begin to move less. As their movement drops, blood flow slows down, swelling gets worse, pain levels rise, and their confidence plummets. That is the beginning of the downward spiral. Here is the proper way to perform this exercise. Stand right next to a countertop, a sturdy chair, or a wall, and place one hand lightly on it for support. Gently shift your weight over onto one leg and lift your other foot just an inch or two off the floor. There is no need to lift it high. Stand up tall and keep your eyes looking forward. Try to avoid gripping the floor with your toes. Hold this position for 20 to 30 seconds while breathing normally. Then, switch to the other leg. That completes one set. Begin by doing 2 rounds on each side. As this starts to feel easier, you can begin to reduce how much you rely on your hand for support. Your eventual goal is to be able to simply hover your hand without touching it all. What makes this exercise so powerful is not just the balance component, it's the time under tension. Those sustained contractions keep your blood moving, strengthen all the tiny stabilizing muscles, and retrain your nervous system to react much faster when you stumble. Studies consistently confirm that improving your single-leg balance significantly reduces your fall risk, improves your confidence while walking, and helps seniors stay active, which is absolutely essential for maintaining long-term circulation health. But here's the critical limitation. Balance helps keep you upright, but it doesn't fully restore blood flow all by itself. To achieve that, you need to use the most powerful version of the calf pump that exists, the one that surgeons all over the world depend on most during rehabilitation. The moment you have been waiting for, the number 1 spot goes to the standing calf pump hold. Once you truly understand what this movement is doing deep inside your legs, you will see exactly why surgeons around the world prescribe it almost like it's a medicine for the purpose of restoring blood flow in people over 60. This is the specific movement that I teased at the very beginning. Here is a fact that was stunning even to seasoned surgeons who were reviewing long-term recovery data from vascular rehabilitation programs all across the globe. This exact movement appears time and time again, because no other exercise is capable of activating the calf muscle pump as powerfully, as safely, or as consistently after the age of 60. This is the single most direct way to force stagnant blood out of your lower legs and push it back towards your heart without needing medication, expensive machines, or any high-impact stress on your body. Here's the reason it is so effective. Your calves are not just muscles. They are powerful pressure pumps. When you rise up onto your toes and you hold that position, those muscles squeeze the deep veins in your lower legs and physically drive blood upward against the force of gravity. The hold is the component that makes all the difference. It keeps that pump engaged long enough to overcome the effects of pooling, swelling, and sluggish return flow. Walking simply does not do this. Ankle pumps are great for preparing the system. The single leg stance is excellent for training control, but it is the heel raise with a hold that actively moves large volumes of blood and keeps it moving. This is why surgeons rely on it more than any other. Here is the proper way to do it. Stand behind a chair or a countertop and hold on lightly for balance. Place your feet about hip-width apart. Slowly rise up onto the balls of your feet, lifting your heels as high as you can comfortably go. Now pause. You must hold that top position for 3 to 5 seconds while you breathe normally and look straight ahead. Then, slowly lower yourself back down, taking about 3 seconds to return to the starting position. That completes 1 repetition. Start with 8 to 10 reps. Over time, you can work your way up to 15 or 20, always maintaining control. The absolute key here is the hold. That is where the real magic happens. This sustained contraction keeps your calf pump fully engaged, which improves venous return, reduces swelling, and retrains the muscles your body relies on to catch yourself during a stumble. Clinical rehabilitation data consistently shows that seniors who can master controlled heel raises improve their circulation, their walking endurance, their ankle strength, and their balance confidence, all at the same time. And unlike high-impact exercises, this one puts minimal stress on your joints, which makes it safe even for people who have arthritis or balance concerns, as long as it's done with support. So there you have it. These are the 5 exercises that surgeons depend on to restore circulation, reduce painful swelling, and protect a person's independence after the age of 60. Walking is a wonderful activity. You should absolutely keep doing it. But walking by itself leaves critical gaps in your health. It doesn't fully activate the powerful muscle pumps that are designed to move blood out of your legs, nor does it train the balance systems that are crucial for preventing falls. These 5 specific movements are designed to fill those gaps, and the best part is that they take less than 15 minutes out of your day, they require no gym membership, and they can all be done safely in the comfort of your own home. Now, we want to hear from you. Which one of these exercises was the most surprising to you? Or which one are you planning to start doing today? Drop a comment for us below. We make sure to read every single one, and before you leave, do not skip the next video that's appearing on your screen. It reveals a single wall-based exercise that surgeons are now saying works even better than walking for building up leg strength, balance, and joint stability after 60. Most people tend to overlook it because it looks too simple, but the results are dramatic when it's performed correctly. Make sure you watch that next. It could completely change the way you train your legs from this day forward. Thanks for watching.